Pewdiepie relies on fan support from people like you. If you enjoy my stories and have the generosity to do so, please consider supporting me monthly on Patreon. Alternatively, you can tip me on coffee for a single tip of $3. You would really help me and the channel out, since we all know bills need to be paid. Thank you for your consideration. Also, please remember to like the video, comment something down below, and share the video around, as that improves my standing in the YouTube algorithm. And now, please, enjoy the show. With a shocked expression, you stared at the arcade screen. The high score specifically. Someone broke yours. Of course, you weren't programmed to be upset at customer scores. In fact, we're supposed to encourage that. But at the same time, you knew every child's letter combination for the scoreboard. It was the middle of the night too, so whoever this was must be an employee. Or someone else. Maybe an intruder. After all, the letter combination FDY was never ever used by a single child before. So now your anger had no dampener. All the frustration that was being held back whenever a customer broke one of your records, now unleashed onto the intruder record holder. The Western Arcade in the Mega Pizzaplex was home to the biggest video game collection, both retro and new, in the form of arcade machines on the East Coast. And any Fazbear franchise, the entirety of the Western Wing was dedicated to the less young audience of the establishment, meaning teens and young adults. Because of that, only 2 animatronics were located there, as the older customers didn't really care about the machines. DJ Music Man, a gigantic machine with a musical algorithm who impressed even the edgiest teen with his sheer size and vast musical library. And a more recent addition, a remade Circus Baby in the glam rock style. For your design, they removed all the dangerous beats. You also had no ice cream machine, no air nozzle at your fingertips, and you had been given a slimmer build entirely, so no child would ever be able to fit inside of you. After those video games sullied the name of the brand, the higher-ups really didn't want the redesign to remind anyone of the old baby. You had been equipped with a talent for video games, a pleasant, cheery personality, specifically towards the customers, and the drive to outdo yourself and others. Finally, to ensure full customer service, your feet had retractable balls on them, allowing you to blitz through the arcade quite quickly. Your colors were still similar to the original Circus Baby, but you had been given a fully functional face made out of silicone, to make you appear less uncanny. Which had the unintended effect of more rude teens telling you how they would put your silicone mouth to use if they could. Gross. But not only were you not programmed to fulfill any desires they might have, but also you were programmed to completely ignore these comments. You grumbled. The high score had been set on Fazbear's Pizza Throw, an arcade port of the intro from Five Nights at Freddy's Pizzeria Simulator. The corporation had come up with making arcade ports of the various Fazbear games by the conspiracy developer to make light of the ridiculous nature of it all. You inserted a fast coin into the machine and began to play. Your goal was at least to beat the score of FDY by 1,000 points. It had to be possible. With mechanical precision you began your gaming session. Honestly, I thought your previous record was unbeatable. By the end of the 10th level, the timing of the pizza throws was so strict it required an incredible amount of focus for a human, and level 15 was practically impossible. 16 had so far been your own limit. So your calculations told you had to beat at least level 18 to beat FDY. So you had a long night ahead of you. Thankfully, you could unlock the arcade machine to reacquire any coins you put in it. It was technically cheating, and technically it wasn't cheating. After all, if they didn't want you to have infinite tries, they would not have given you a master key hidden inside the back of your hand to unlock every machine. As you kept playing, your focus on the game increased more and more, to the point where you didn't notice a certain large shadow approach you from behind. It wasn't until it seemed like the music from the game wasn't just coming from the machine, but also behind you, that it felt more daring. Like the game was mocking you for your failure in creating a proper unbeatable high score. With your mechanical precision, you moved the stick and the pizza throw button. Each pizza that still somehow made its way onto the Shadow Freddy felt like a major loss. The timer would soon get more and more brutal. And then, just when you reached level 16, the stupid Shadow Freddy ran into your face one too many times.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Your servos locked up for a split second as the deep booming voice echoed right behind you. Why you are programmed to feel fear was a mystery to you.
DJ!
You shouted.
Oh, did I scare you? I apologize, little baby.
DJ Music Man was a giant spider-like robot. His design specifically chosen to be more impressive rather than performative. Despite that, the entire Western arcade had been constructed in a way that allowed him some freedom of movement. Specifically during disco night, where he would perform in the arcade of the Western Wing rather than the dance floor. To make this possible, he would attach himself to the ceiling to avoid inconveniencing customers. Every pizzaplex with an arcade portion had the option to purchase a DJ Music Man, as every addition to the atrium was essentially a pre-built asset. What made the Mega Pizzaplex so mega was the fact that it was the only Fazbear Entertainment plex that had all additions purchased, both for customers who wanted to enjoy the full Fazbear fun time, and off-site Pizzaplex owners who wished to make their addition to their franchise.
Little baby, do you need to...
Music Man tilted his head.
You seem frustrated.
You crossed your arms and humphed.
I was specifically designed for arcade purposes. My job is to play with kids who don't have friends, so they can enjoy Fazbear co-op games, and...
The DJ moved his giant head and booped your nose.
I know your purpose, little baby. But what you have been demonstrating is far greater than simple competitive spirit. My mood analyzer picked up an elevated aggression. That's why I'm here. You are the only one here capable of emotions.
As if to underline his point, a security bot blitzed past the two of you. You leaned against the arcade machine with an expression that made it quite hard for Music Man not to laugh.
You are quite childish and aggressive, little baby. I feel like the customers like that about you.
You blinked.
And what does that mean?
You said as you puffed up your cheeks.
Definition. Tsundere. Tsundere is a Japanese term for a character development process that describes a person who is initially cold and sometimes hostile, before gradually showing a warmer, friendlier side over time. The word is derived from the term tsun-tsun, meaning to turn away in disgust, and dere-dere, meaning to become lovey-dovey. Originally found in Japanese bishoujo games, the word is now part of the otaku moe phenomenon, reaching into other media such as maid cafes, anime, manga, novels, and even mass media.
You blushed by lighting up LEDs that were under your silicone cheeks.
Little baby, remember when you first were introduced as an entertainment animatronic and were told you'd be working with me?
You looked away and pouted.
You called me a big-butted spider monster, expressed your wish to perform with the Glamrock animatronics, and then entered the arcade section without even giving me a second look.
You sighed, feeling called out.
It took you up until very recently, a total of 80 days, for you to talk to me the way you do now.
I mean, it's not like I like you or anything.
Music Man snickered, and the two of you went quiet for a moment. But when the spider robot turned to leave, you raised your hand.
Wait a second.
You shouted.
Do you know who broke my record on pizza throw?
DJ Music Man scratched his chin.
Let me think.
As seconds turned to minutes, you impatiently began tapping your foot on the ground.
Freddy.
He said eventually.
Freddy? But he isn't allowed in the arcade!
Music Man blinked.
Correction. Freddy isn't allowed on the dance floor, as his dance moves are too extreme and damage his shell.
You grumbled.
I'm sure I don't fully grasp the full range of the emotions you must feel at this moment. Your model is more advanced than mine.
Your eyes moved to the ground.
I'm not that new.
You still haven't received a shell replacement. You still have no new upgrades. You have a pristine factory new body. You are new.
You shuddered. You hated getting compliments about your looks, probably because of all those horny teens, but they felt more genuine coming from him. Which made you even more upset. At least that's what you would categorize the feeling as. His head came closer.
You should be happy, little baby. I am too big for parts and services. Repairs are much more difficult for me.
You grumbled.
I guess.
He chuckled. He leaned back and you finally noticed how he was standing behind you. His two hind legs were attached to the ceiling, while his forelegs were placed on the ground floor of the arcade. His hands were placed on the ground next to you.
Is it difficult?
You asked curiously. He tilted his head. You blushed and scoffed.
Walking around the place.
I am equipped with the security system of the Mega Pizzaplex. If I so desire, I can see the entire map with little white dots, indicating the location of other animatronics. This includes the security staff. This way I can pre-plan my route through the Western Arcade without much hassle.
Your blush intensified.
So you know where I am at all times?
Little baby, you are a machine. You are not programmed to be in unscripted scenarios where privacy would be an issue.
You pouted.
Emotional damage confirmed. I apologize if I hurt your feelings.
Just let me...
You interrupted by DJ's giant hand grabbing you by the waist.
Hey, what are you doing?
He held you up in his face like a little doll.
You were curious about how I traverse the Pizzaplex. I'd like to show you as an apology.
You struggled against his restraints and whimpered.
Let go of me, please.
Are you sure?
You turned your head. You're right above a deep drop.
No. Don't let go. Don't let go.
The giant machine moved and then set you on its middle segment, where two small hatches opened. You furrowed your brows. The hatches had handles on them.
I didn't know you had these.
You mean the ability to allow for a ride? You never asked.
You hummed amused, and then locked your grip around the handles. Thankfully, you were a strong animatronic.
Fine, DJ. I'll take your bait. Let's go.
The heavy animatronic began making his way through the arcade. He skillfully danced around anything he could potentially squish or damage, like staff bots, arcade machines, tables, chairs, anything really.
Wow, you're amazing at this!
You shouted. He turned his head to look at you, his piano key-shaped teeth shattering with excitement.
I was built for this. This is routine for me.
Don't ruin this, please.
DJ chuckled, but continued the joyride. While his movements were extremely slow, they definitely were calculated. And he explained that initially he was meant to be both a DJ and an attraction that would carry customers throughout the entire building. However, creating a tunnel network specifically for him was unfeasible. The risks of him stepping on a small child too high, and the fact that if he were to transport customers around the Pizzaplex, he'd need more secure seats attached to himself. As the way the two of you were doing it was very dangerous. You sighed and laid down on his back.
Well, seems like what I'm getting right now is a very special treatment.
DJ felt you pressing your synthetic body against his metal shell. He'd smile if he could. He really liked that. An hour later, you were sitting on his stage, while he himself was lying next to you, like a giant sleeping dragon. Your eyes were focused on the hypnotic light fixture in front of you.
We rarely get tender moments like this, little baby.
You thought for a moment. He was right. Despite you and him living in the same section of the building. Why though, was what you thought.
But I understand. As you said yourself, I am a big-butted spider monster.
Your cheek lit up once again.
I didn't mean it like that.
I understand. Showing affection is difficult for someone with a personality subroutine like yours.
You made a noise of discomfort.
I know you're going to call me that word again.
DJ's teeth chattered as he chuckled.
But it is true, little baby.
Grumbling, you shifted, staring down at the ground.
We have been programmed to feel and convey affection. It is understandable if you take feelings for me. If anything, it is strange it hasn't happened here yet. And by that I mean in general.
Your eyes met.
You know, animatronics wanting to...
Wanting to spend more time together? Yes.
Yeah, that is totally what you were about to say. Finally, you gave up. Got on your feet and closed the distance to him. He looked at you expectantly. With your hands behind your back, you first looked away from him, almost shyly. In your mind, calculations were running. And then you leaned forward, pressing your silicone lips onto his big, goofy purple nose. The lights in his mouth lit up, and the Fazbear Entertainment theme song, the glam rock animatronics performed at least once a week, began to echo out of his mouth. However, it kept playing even as you removed your lips off of his shell.
Little baby,
He said, almost disappointedly. You're about to take the step back when his large hand grabbed you. A loud squeak left your lips, as he shoved you onto his round chest. Meanwhile, his head turned to look back at the colorful wall. You were a blushing mess. After a moment of silence, you spoke up again.
Enjoy the moment, little baby. If you haven't noticed yet, my stage is also a charging station. Just by being here, your battery will very slowly charge up. If you like, you can come visit me and my delicious energy every night from now on.
With a loud thud, you bumped into his chest piece with your head.
Fine! You big dummy. I'll stay with you.